I have a question for both of you guys. Is this your first Comic Con, or is it? Or you have been at any other Comic Con before?
I was here last year with Charmed.
I've been on a cut. Yeah, I did a show for Amazon, Ran in the High Castle. We did this and San Diego. So yeah, I've done Comic Cons a few times now.
Which is your favorite, San Diego or New York?
Well, San Diego is just much bigger, a little more crazier.
Yeah, I think I prefer this because it's a bit more chill.
It's a bit more sedate here. There are, people literally running down the street in full, like Batwoman, Batman costumes, like running around trying to save people. But it's kind of entertaining. So they're both just different. No better, no worse. I think just different.
So, I guess my question is, I was a big fan of the original show, Charmed. Going to see this new whole reboot of the show and kind of taking a different spin of the original. And going into season 2, what are the differences you guys see in your characters' journey going from season 1 to season 2? I guess without any, spoilers. I know you're not allowed.
Huge. I always feel like my character's unrecognizable. There are days when I'm like, oh wow, this is quite bold for Macy. I guess she's, we've all just had to kind of step up. The stakes are much higher, and you kind of just have to get on with it. So yeah, for me, the difference between season 1 and season 2 for Macy is really, really big.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think for all of us, it's season 2. The creators and the showrunners have really taken the show in a new direction. So it's a more serialized show. The central theme, just running one storyline that's really sort of run throughout the whole arc of season 2. So it's not kind of episodic really anymore. And we have kind of, one or two sort of arch enemies, sort of baddies.
Baddies. Laughing at me now. I don't like people say baddies.
I think we're baddies. So we have sort of one or two real menacing characters that really are with us, throughout. And so it's kind of a darker piece, much darker. And the visual effects, the special effects, the stunts, everything I think we've tried to lift, and we've tried to kind of really raise the bar and make it, it's a very, very different show season 2 to season 1. So I think fans will be really shocked. And something happens about 7 minutes into episode 1 of season 2, 7 minutes in, that changes the whole thing. And so you'll see.
There's something that happens in that sort of sequence that I'm just going to say I'm sorry about. People, I don't think realize what it is, but people are going to be like, I can't believe they did that.
No.
So sorry about it.
First episode.
Oh, I do know exactly.
Yeah, I'm a bit scared about that.
Dropping a bomb on the first episode.
So they've made some really bold choices.
Yeah, they just went, look, this is what we're going to do, and we've done it.
They changed and got rid of and changed things. They've done stuff that some of the fans will be, I think, really shocked by.
Yeah.
So I'll be really interested to see.
I'm quite nervous to see how people. We're going to go to a panel and screen.
I'm excited because I think it's.
No, I am excited, but I'm just a bit like, that thing particularly.
So can you introduce us kind of to what the world is looking like once we come back to season 2? Because it seems like it's more of a serious tone that we're going to see.
Yes, I would love to tell you what the world is, but we're not allowed. Because after that 7 minutes, it is like what was before is no more. It's literally we're in a new place, new world, new everything.
But where we find the three witches, the charm ones, and where we find Harry the White Light at the top of the season is kind of the aftermath of the end of season 1. So there's a sort of there's kind of sense of celebration that the charm ones have defeated, the great evil power of last season, and they're starting on a new journey as being in charge, because there's no more elders, as we know from the end of season 1. The elders have all been killed. So there's a kind of sense of optimism, really. But then everything turns.
And then you thought
in a different way. Yeah. So so we'll see.
How do you feel coming back for you? Because were you in on season 1? Your character's introduced as so to speak, this book of knowledge for the girls, and their guardian, and the guiding light for them as they, learn more about this new world that they didn't know about. But then at the end of season 1, we it's kind of something, the relationship and the dynamic with your character shows that it may change based on Harry's alliances and where I mean, yeah, Harry's lying season where they actually lie. So like, what was that like coming back for you, and like this kind of shift in Harry going forward?
Well, I'm really excited about season 2 for a number of reasons I can't really explain because you'll see. But they've done something that has allowed me as an actor and as the character to kind of form, pursue kind of interesting relationships with each of the sisters in different ways. But also, we in season 2 we really delve into the origin of what it is to be a white lighter, how a white lighter was kind of created. So we go back into and they look in great depth at that, which kind of opens up new avenues for Harry. So for me, it's been a real exciting change. It's a much darker, much more interesting change. So yeah, I think the fans are going to be really shocked.
Will we dive in more into the family history of the Vera family? I feel like we didn't really get a sense of their origins really in the first season. It was kind of like they were introduced, and then we'll see any involvement in their powers. We can see
powers, yes. Family. I don't know if it's still.
We're asking the wrong questions.
I don't know if that's still happening, but I know at some point there was a family member, sort of what we think the case is not actually the case. A particular family member.
Yeah, certain things are sorted out and revealed, and I think it's fair to say that
it's still part of the story, but it's not because of what happens after that 7 minutes. It's not the sort of like central point at the beginning because there's a lot of other stuff to be figuring out.
Okay. So very intriguing.
Turned on its head.
Yeah.
Literally turned on its head.
Basically, just like forget what you thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have like a favorite moment, like behind the scenes moment, maybe working on season 2?
Season 2?
Yeah, I mean,
we're only into episode 4 now.
Episode 7.
Oh, we're 7. I'm talking about editing, right?
Oh, right.
But like, has there been a favorite on-set moment, like leading up to this new shift we're going to see?
During season 2? Oh, well,
I've been able to be a lot more physical, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
It's one of the things though that I was like, this is not really like Macy, but I guess we're doing it. So I quite enjoy that.
I agree with you. Actually, I've had a lot more fights, and Harry gets a lot more physical. I'm down with it.
The stakes are just so much higher that it's kind of like you see these characters that just thrust into this, these situations and. It's
really difficult to because it's like a couple. There's like 3 or 4 big spoilers. Without explaining to you, then you'll. I
do feel like after episode 1, like by the end of episode 1 of them is really no spoiler.
No, I agree, but they haven't seen episode 1.
I know, but it's just.
What's your outlook? Because you're kind of the black sheep coming in, and so now in this season, we get to see Macy become more integrated with the sisters.
Yes, I'm trying to think what we've shot so far. Hey guys, we have to head out. Okay, I'm just going to finish the question.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't think yet that I've really seen much of kind of like building on it. I feel like we're still sort of where we are. I don't know if there has been many. I'm trying to think of what like sister moments I've had that that are like. Because last year was quite volatile, especially with Macy and Mel. I was just throwing her around the house all the time. I haven't done that yet, which I'm happy about. So yeah, it's more kind of like us against.
But I think season 2, if I may, there's a sort of moments that have galvanised them together and makes them sort of have to kind of group together because of what they're doing. So we'll see a kind of union that perhaps they didn't have so clearly in season 1.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll start off. Going from season 1 to season 2, what do you guys see the major differences with your character's journey? I guess of course, you're not allowed to give any spoilers or any reveals, but
I mean, I think Mel for the first season, she was really like mourning her mother. She was very angry about everything. And I think the second season we're kind of turning her into like a fighter, into like a lover a little bit more. And we learn a little bit more like why she is the way she is. And there's a really cool relationship arc between us.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite thus far. It's really special, and it definitely informs you of like more the dynamic and why it is the way it is, and why she's protective of me. And
Yeah, I mean, what was the other part of the question?
Oh no, just in general, like what is the journey of your character from season 1 to season 2? I mean, it could be like the difference. Or
I think she's just embracing being a leader. I think that she's given this responsibility, and I think Mel is very gung-ho about taking on that role.
Yeah, I think Maggie definitely comes into her own in season 2 a little more. She's a pretty vulnerable character, and there's definitely I love it because she still has that element to her, but she also is getting stronger mentally and is able to contribute to her sisters and Harry in a more meaningful way.
During season 1, we get to see a lot of your character now, and obviously you play a lesbian, which is also a good representation. So I wanted to know what was the feedback that you got from fans, from LGBT fans.
That was one of the most amazing parts. I got like messages being like, "You helped me come out," and I just like to normalize the fact. I mean, like there should be like so many more lesbians and gay people on television, and like the fact that we kind of like never really talked about her being gay. She just was gay, and that wasn't like a big part of her identity. I think people really like gravitated towards that.
And you get to have more than one girlfriend, which is awesome, and you really don't see that. And since the relationship with Nico ended on sort of bittersweet note during season 1, so I wanted to know, obviously with no spoilers, if fans felt that they didn't get the closure that they deserved. Obviously loads of things happened, so what is going to happen in season 2 in terms of Mel's love life? Do we get to see more?
I think she's focusing on being the because I mean we are.
Yeah, she has to save the world.
Basically,
we have to save the world. So we have like so many lives in our hands now that the elders are no more, and that really sort of like displaces them and shifts the important things. Shifts them.
Yeah, no, I think that like, well, they'll definitely be in a different world this year. Like you guys, it's a really different show.
Really different show.
You're gonna be like, oh my god. But it's important to me, and I've talked to Liz and Peg about this. Like I think that like I want Mel always to like be dating. I think it's important to see that representation. Like
not everyone's in like this picture perfect like relationship. It can be messy. It can be like confusing and complex and. Yeah, it's just real.
What were y'all looking forward to the most about coming back to your characters and getting to, what were y'all looking forward to exploring in this coming season about the characters?
I would say, like I was saying before, just the strength that Maggie presents this season, and she's just like really stepping up, and something happens in the episodes we're shooting right now that's like big spoiler, but I'm really excited about it. She's really like pulling her weight and decides to do something that I think no one sees coming.
I'm just like, I mean, Mel was always like a leader and kind of a badass, but I think she's really taking on the role even further, and I don't know, she's just really solving problems in the best way, and being collaborative about it. I think like last year she was a little bit more intense, and I think this year she's kind of like chilled out and kind of like trying to have more fun.
Yeah.
My question, I was a big last one. Oh, okay. I was a big fan of the original Charmed series back in the 90s, and I was just wondering, going into this whole reboot of the series and a whole different type of storyline, did you guys get any inspiration from the original series for your characters going into the series?
I would say definitely inspiration from the original series. I mean, that is why we're doing this.
Right.
That's without them, we wouldn't be here. And so, definitely drawing from the mythology and the magic of it all, and the sisterly bond is like the biggest thing, I think. But as individuals, at least for me, I feel like I just wanted to create a new character that was my own, that I got to develop. And so, I guess that's that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because like it's like I wanted to. I watched episodes and I was very aware of it. And it was always in the background of my television growing up. But I also did it. I wanted to for us to create our own thing and for us to have our own identity. And it's a different show and it's a different time. But technology and like the world of mess in a different way. So I just wanted to kind of like pay homage to it, but also just know that we're doing our own thing right now.
Cool.
One last question.
How does this filming this series differ from the other work that you've done? You did independent film projects. You did a series as well. How does this charm actually differ from that? And do you think, how do you find that balance between what you're doing now and like doing the film work?
This is a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question.
I watched some of your movies that independent film that you've
Thank
done.
you.
So.
Yeah, and it's really different. Like the pace is so much faster. Like I
really,
could multitask everything. I put my makeup on. I could be reading a script.
Yeah, you really have to just
be on your toes.
Move along. You just really have to. You have no choice. I'm like, you just like, it's crazy. You're like learning so many lines, and you just kind of like somehow know them, even though your brain shouldn't have the capacity to know that many. Like you somehow do. And then with film, like obviously it's just a much slower pace, and it just changes. I don't know. I think it changes a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, like on TV, you know, we shoot like 11 pages a day, and on film, we shoot like 5, and like I don't know. It's teaching me to be on my game in a different way.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Just to be much more mendable and work with the elements.
Wow.
Yeah, you just kind of have to go with it.
Fine. Great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
guys.
Hey guys. Hi. How are you all?
Well, how are you?
We're great.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Hello.
So we've been hearing a lot of things about season 2 changing the game.
Yeah.
And a whole new show.
It's cool. It's really cool. I would use a bad word, but I was told not to.
What do you mean?
It's cool shit.
It's cool.
Yeah, no, we're super proud of it. It's really, really interesting, and it takes what was laid down in season 1 and builds on it in a very interesting way. Like we blew the whole canvas open to really try and understand more about the entire magical world, the whole mythology is much more like a modern fantasy or sci-fi show in which we have huge boards with all the mythology laid out for all the characters, and we're trying to track one long serialized story across 22 episodes.
Serialized story, one long overarching mystery that is catalyzed in the first episode, and that we are going to unpack slowly, layer by layer.
Right.
Throughout the whole season, it's going to be kind of tied in through the whole season.
It is, yeah. So there's one. I mean, it's got many twists and turns and tributaries that go off in other places, but there's one central core thing holding it together, and that's. Have you guys seen the first episode yet?
Not yet.
In minute 9, you'll understand what exactly the framework is for the whole season and what their issue is going forward through the whole season.
And by the end of the first episode, you'll have that holy moment.
Holy spit!
Right, holy spit, exactly.
Did y'all plan this, or like is that something that y'all kind of like decided on at the end of season 1?
Well, we are new showrunners. We were not the season 1 showrunners. Yes, and we were brought in to sort of take the show in, I think, a newer direction, build on what was there. And so when we came in to talk about season 2, we talked about how do we take the best of season 1, build on that, and sort of make the show epic, because it is an epic canvas. You've got these 3 women who find out that they have these supernatural powers and that they've got this whole history that they never knew about. And so, I mean, I don't know about any of you, but like I found out, some crazy shit about my family history, and that does blow open your mind, but it changes it. And, they dealt with that in the first season, but it's sort of like, now what, right? The elders are gone, and now they're in charge. What does that even look like, right? So for us, that became like, that was a great springboard for season 2. Like, they're in charge, but what does that mean, right? What does it look like? Have you guys been in charge of stuff? It's not easy.
No, but also, like, season 1 didn't really dig into, it laid the framework for who are the elders and what do they do, but we never really understood how they held the Magic Kingdom together, and sort of, I'll say that it dawned on us that it's a little like Harry Potter, which is to say, in the beginning, it was just like about these kids and Hogwarts, and they learned about magic, and it was down here. But then by the book 3 and movie 3, all of a sudden the whole canvas blew open, and you realize, oh my God, there's a war going on, and there's all these other magical creatures, and they didn't know yet, and the audience didn't know yet that all this was going on. And what we've tried to do is something similar, which is to say we're trying to build on the great characters that were created in season 1 and the world that they built, and now we're going to try and blow it open and reveal to the audience that there's a lot more going on than they thought.
Than they ever imagined.
Right.
Are you still going to be balancing like how they have like a real life and also their magical lives?
Yes.
Kind of
Right.
that kind of gives you a connection to these characters.
Yes.
Right.
Is that still going to be part of season 2?
Oh,
or is it
yes.
gonna,
Even more
way.
so, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the problem is we're right into spoiler territory here.
I know.
Which is why I'm kind of stuck, but I will say.
I
yeah,
can
go ahead.
Sort of
I like that balance, you
it's
know.
sort of an upstairs, downstairs thing in the sense that like their real world is up here, and then their sort of supernatural world is down here, and they have to try to keep them apart. And we do have this sort of they have to manage to have day jobs while not letting anyone know that they have these incredible powers.
Yeah, but we wanted to lean straight into that because
Yes.
we thought that was important, and to try, sometimes you felt Hilltown a little, but we wanted to put them in the real world of like sort of millennial, Gen Z. What is it like to live that life while you're also trying to balance, hey, I'm in charge of the magical kingdom, and those two things are going to collide into each other a lot.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Filling out off of that, what can we expect from the girls' love relationships?
Oh yes.
Well, you can expect that they will have some, and you can expect that they will be complicated.
Yeah.
And you can expect to see maybe some old faces and maybe some new faces in those love relationships, and they will be fun.
What were you looking forward to the most coming into the season about getting to explore and expound upon the charmed ones and their sisterhood?
Right.
We have a daughter who's 21, and so I think sort of what is it like to be in your 20s in the world when every day on the news you hear that the earth is dying? Like, sort of what is that? What is it like for these 3 young women who have this sisterhood and are being tasked with solving some of the greatest problems of their time? Like, I look at this generation and I think about what that's like, and I think exploring that through the prism of these sisters was very interesting, and like that they have to take on the world together. But also, we talked about the fact that we all have labels in our family, like with our relationships with our siblings, like you're the funny one, you're the smart one, you're the dancer, right? And so we thought, wouldn't it be interesting to flip everybody's labels in this season? Like last season, Maggie was the sorority girl, and Mel was the serious one, and Macy was a scientist. Well, what if it turned out that Maggie learned to take herself seriously and challenged Mel as the serious one? Like there are different dynamics, and sometimes we want to grow and change in our families, and our family doesn't want to let us do that.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that we thought was really interesting. How do you grow in a family when everyone views you in one way? So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, that was just one general question, just because I was a big fan of the original series. I was just wondering if you guys took anything from that series into this whole new reboot or new storyline of Charmed.
Well, we did not develop this from last season, right? So we're new. We just came on season 2. But what I will say is that, the original was a very special show, and it was its own thing.
Right.
And we were talking about in the same way that, like, Sabrina is a totally different show from Sabrina. Sabrina, the half-hour Melissa Joan
Hart.
Right. I mean, that was its own show, and people loved that show. And then this Sabrina is its own show, and I think people have to start looking at Charmed in the same way. It's like, it's its own thing, and that's
Right.
okay. And I know that some people will be disappointed by that, but some people are very energized by that.
Right.
So,
Well, we also say, like, when you do a reboot, it's got to be modernized. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Battlestar Galactica, but it's one of my all-time favorite shows. Well, the original Battlestar is not one of my all-time favorite shows. And they managed to take the exact same idea and modernize it into more modern storytelling, a more modern way of telling story. And I think that's really what we're trying to do, too, is to take the same framework, but just bring it into more modern. Like, we have a more serialized story. Well, the original Charm was like...
It was serialized, but it's just not... we're trying to do, like, a centralized mystery, sort of more like today's world, like everything is a lot more serialized. So
I mean, the original one was more vertical, and I have a feeling that you guys going darker is also a way to detach yourself from that sort of narrative, which was very... I mean, it was dark in a way, but it was also very funny.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And you know what? Our show still has a sense of humor. because that's sort of what charm means. Is a
And
little sense of
personal
humor.
lives as well.
Exactly. It has to have the personal lives. I mean, a huge part of the show is exactly what she was asking about, their personal lives, their dating lives, their work lives. All these things are really, really important to the story. Otherwise, that wouldn't be charm at all. Right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you.